Hey you, welcome to Gray Zone Warfare. If you were as confused and lost as I was when I first booted up this game, well, I'm here to get you boots on the ground, rolling through your first task, give you the deets on how to heal properly, weapon customization, and of course, most importantly, the progression system and how that kind of works in this game. So sit back, relax, and pull this video off to your second monitor and follow along if that's easier for you. If not, let's get started. This is your character customization screen. Do whatever the hell you want. I don't think you can change your appearance later on in the game. Apparel you can, but it really doesn't matter that much anyways because it's going to be covered in gear anyways, so just pick whatever the hell you want. I'm gonna choose the most manliest man that I possibly can. Once you got all that set up, let's continue to the most important aspect of the game. Now, if there's one thing you should take away from this video, that is you cannot change the faction once you select one. And most importantly, cross-faction gameplay is not allowed. Essentially, what that means is if you pick Crimson and your buddy picks Mithras or Lemang, you can't play with them. You cannot queue with them at all. Unless, and of course this is where the fine print comes in, you decide to wipe your character completely and you have to start from ground zero all over again, picking the same faction as your friend, but that's the fine print. And if you're like me and you got no friends, it really doesn't matter anyway. Now you might be wondering if there's any kind of gameplay difference between each faction like Lemang, Mithras, or Crimson. Not really, it just kind of changes where you spawn on the map. Each faction has their own fob in different corners of the map and it changes the quest just a teeny tiny bit, not too much. So don't worry, you're not really going to be missing out too much if you pick one over the other. Once you do that, go ahead and click continue, pick your name. Of course, we are going with Usain. Continuing on from there, and then continue one more time to confirm. Now, before we go any further, it is important to note that this game is in early access. If you make any decision to buy this game, be well aware that they truly mean early access when they say early access. Expect crashes, performance hiccups, and other different random types of bugs. Don't go complaining when you can't run this game on a GTX 1063 gigabyte, because if that's what you have, I'm telling you right now, you're not going to be able to play this game. I'd say minimum you need an RTX 2000 series and above to play this game reasonably well. And even then, it still looks like trash and plays like trash. Don't forget to change the server that is closest to you. When you're ready, you can pick either PvP against other players or PvE only with joint operations. Yes, this game offers you PvE for free, unlike Tarkov. I'm going PvE. We're going to deploy. Don't worry, guys, especially at the beginning, even though it says PvE, at the beginning, the first couple of missions, you're not really going to be fighting against other real players. For the most part, you're going to be fighting AI in the areas that are closest to you. The further you progress in the game, the more you're going to spread it around the map. Read this if you want to. I'm too ADHD for that. This is what I mean by the map. This is the 3 different spawn locations. I'm here at Lemang. We got Crimson over here and Mithras. This is what I mean. At the beginning, I can only go to LZ 1 and 2. Same with them. They can only go LZ 1 and 2 over here. There are other LZs across the map, and as you progress, you'll discover them. And when you discover them, kind of like an RPG, you'll be able to go there with the helicopter. You can go base camp to LZ and LZ to LZ. You call the helicopter in by clicking on the LZ and then click call transport. But before we do that, oh my god, as I said, this game has bugs. Be aware of that. Let me give you a brief rundown of the whole menu system. There is only one loading screen in the entire game, and that's the one we just went through. Besides that, you have the map. You have character over here. Under character, there's another very important screen called health. You can rotate this to see what is going on. Vendors, this is where you're able to trade, buy things over on the left side. This is your inventory you can sell things from. Tasks as well that you can collect. While you're here, go to Handshake and accept this task so we can move further, and then go to Gunny, and then you can also go to Gunny, accept his task, Labrat, accept her task as well. Gunny is going to send you a message. You want to go ahead and open that and collect this tracker. You're going to need that for a mission. You need to bring that with you and make sure you don't die and lose it, because if you do, you're going to have to buy another tracker. But before we go through any of that, while you're in a raid, this is where you're going to find your task over in this screen. They'll give you a little detailed description of what the task is and also the objectives you need to complete that task. And if sometimes, especially at the beginning task, it'll give you a location of where you can find that task specifically. This one says 200 and 160. If you go on the map, you zoom in, we're at 200 and 163, which is in this square. So that mission is going to be somewhere in this location. Now be aware, not every task gives you that information. Oh, I forgot to mention, you can open and close that screen by pressing tab or the escape key. You can zoom in with the mouse wheel, move the map around with left click. And when you find the location that you're heading to, you right click on that area, set a waypoint, and now you have that on the map. And on the compass at the top of your screen, you'll see that little waypoint marker. You can just go in and follow that without opening the map. M key will bring up a smaller little map that's closer zoomed in. You can see where you're going, what's around you. You can see your faction mates over there highlighted in blue, anything green, and I think it's yellow is your squad mates. Now, before we get into this cluster truck of a screen, all this inventory, I promise you, I'm going to guide you through all of this. Don't worry. Before we do any of that, I'm going to walk you through the game settings, stuff that you need to have in mind and stuff that you need to change. I'm going to give you the bare minimum because graphics and stuff like that and controls are going to be completely up to preference and what your computer can handle. First of all, this screen, I didn't really touch. You don't really need to. One thing though that you need to keep in mind is the Z key is the push to talk. You can't change that currently in the game, so you need to know that Z key is push to talk. And a lot of people chat in this game. If you're looking for someone to raid with, go ahead and ask people. There are a bunch of people around here. You can go up, walk to them and be like, yo, I need someone to go on a raid with. They'll gladly help you. This community is pretty chill for the most part. Graphics. Here's where things kind of get a little interesting. Vertical FOV, I kind of have an unpopular opinion on this one because a lot of people take this and just zoom it all the way up to 75. And if you notice, things seem further away. Like, you see that guy? He's like... I'll tell you, the community, these guys are pretty chill, man. You see this guy? He's like very zoomed in. My game is bugged out. Okay, there we go. Never mind. We're back. You see how they're like really, it seems like they're very far away. I can't really make them out, but you have a wider field of view, meaning you can see, if you look at this lamppost on my right side, like I can see that there, but if I go back to settings and bring that down, well, now I can't see that lamppost, but I like to keep this around 57. Now these guys seem a little bit closer, and it helps with me. I have trouble finding and acquiring targets that are far away, especially with this red dot sight. It's kind of annoying. So I leave that at like 57. I don't like to go way too close, but 57 seems to be the sweet spot for me. VSync, this was on by default. Turn that the flip off. If you're using VSync, well, I'm not going to judge you, but it's dumb. Saturation, I usually turn that up 125. I like seeing green, luscious environments. I like that. Gamma, this is where this is a little interesting. Let me show you gamma, okay? There's a reason why people look like really like pale. Like, you see this guy? He looks like freaking cream cheese, all right? If you pay attention to like this area, this dude, brother, I'm filming a video. If you pay attention to this shack, this little tent over here, when I turn the gamma, I'm gonna bring the gamma back down to 100. Do you see how it's like darker in that area, and the shadow, especially around this guy, is much darker as well? Now, when I bump this up, you'll see it gets a little bit easier to see and recognize things underneath it. That's why I bumped that up to like 133. Of course, this is going to change on depending on what device you're viewing it on. On my screen, 133, I'd rather have people look like Philly's cream cheese than not being able to see people in shadows. Visibility is still very scuffed in this game. Don't get me wrong, this ain't going to help that, but it does that. Frame rate limit. I highly suggest you limit your FPS. If you're able to get anything like above 120, 144 or whatever like that, I highly suggest you limit that anyways to begin with, but that's a different story. That's up to preference. Quality, this is kind of I roll. I have terrible FPS anyways to begin with, but texture resolution, foliage, medium on these doesn't seem to affect the game too much, so I choose to keep those on. Motion blur, turn that off. That's crap. That's junk. You don't want that. Sharpening, I choose to keep that off because I'm playing on 1080, and when it comes to things at distance, like in this area, the jagged and the shadows, it just looks weird when I turn that up. Now, these settings are kind of going to be like where it's really up to you. I'm still experimenting with these. Every playthrough I've had, I've still changed them. So like, I can't give you a word. I've turned the aliasing thing off, like TSR, I'm assuming is off, but they don't let you turn off temporal anti-aliasing, and that really drives me nuts because it's super freaking annoying. Please, Mad Finger Games, let us turn that off. It's super freaking annoying. I've experimented with off, I've experimented with DLSS, I've experimented with FSR. Currently, I'm sitting with FSR and native AA. The reason I'm doing that is because if I turn this, for example, to DLSS, and I go to quality, for example, you'll notice things off in the distance are very freaking blurry. And if you pay attention around my scope, you see that little fuzz and haze around that scope that's like trailing it? That drives me crazy, and it happens inside the scope as well when I'm zoomed into people. Oftentimes, I'm not even joking this, and it really drives me crazy. It might be a reason I like freaking Alt F4 at one point, but that blur when I'm moving the crosshair around like this, the enemy literally blurs in the scope, and I can't see my enemy if he's past like 25, 30 meters away from me. So for now, I'm sitting at FSR native AA, which is giving me atrocious FPS, but still, I'd rather be able to see my target and have 40 FPS than not being able to see them. Next, your controls and keybinds. I'm going to kind of fly through these. Again, this is personal preference. You adjust your sensitivity, except there are a couple things in here that I wanted to mention, and you can look through here. This is kind of what I got going on for controls and keybinds. You can look at them, copy them if you want. Currently, the thing that I want to cover the most is that you can change if you want an action to happen on press or hold or double press. Currently, it's weird. If you have an item like reload bound on a press and you try to do, say for example, check ammo and you try to bind that to R, but you want it to be on a hold, it bugs out and it oftentimes doesn't let you check the ammo. So what I've done is instead of that, I put it on double press. And where this comes in handy is when you got like the heals, the meds, and the grenades. So for example, if you set quick healing, normally by default this is on H, I set it to 4. That uses your previously selected heal item. But at the same time, I have open medicine category, and this is on hold. So if I hold 4, it brings up this menu where I can select the bandage. And if I right click, it takes me back and it takes me back. But if I double click 4, like that, it goes into the healing animation, which I can cancel by right clicking. This comes in very handy, but it only works if you set the quick heal, the quick item menus to double press. For some reason, when it's on press, it clashes with the other keybind and currently just doesn't work. It's bugged. So keep that in mind. So that's a very good tip that I can offer you. Other than that, in this menu, another really important thing to use is the look around keybind. You want to make sure that's within reach, like apostrophe, apparently. Don't worry about that. All right, now that you're all situated up, let's get you geared up, call in the chopper, and head out and do our first task. Don't worry about it right now. You'll learn it all as you go through. You can look through it, but I'm going to give you the loadout that you're going to need. So this entire loadout screen, I'm going to keep things very simple and help you along the way. You'll learn it as you progress through the game. It's kind of very self-explanatory. Don't worry about this stuff on the left side right now, but we're going to take this blood bag and surge kit. We'll put it in our safe lock. Safe lock is when you die, you maintain these items no matter what. You bring them. So I'll just keep these two things, which are kind of probably the most valuable items that you'll carry on your body right now. Now, pockets and Mach 2, you see these little thunderbolts right here, and tactical as well. This means that these are quick access items that you can get through the menu I just showed you. For example, I have bandages in the pockets, but splints and a baleen and CT in this backpack, which I can't access. So if I go out here and press and hold 4, I can access my bandage, but not what's in my bag. So if I take these splints out and put it in here, and this as well in here and here. Now I press and hold 4 and I can access all of them. And whatever I previously had selected is what tied to a double press 4. See that? There you go. That's pretty convenient. Moving on, we got the MFAC. Drag one of those into your pockets or your Mach 2. It doesn't matter. Drag that over there. Drop a splint and a bandage or any other healing item. It doesn't really matter. What that is, essentially, if you right click and open, you can carry 2 items in there for the same slot as 1. That's basically how that works, and it still works with you press and hold 4. That saves you a little bit of space. Now, when it comes to mags or clips,
that's not clips. That's not clips. That's not.
I only carry 2 for right now, at the beginning especially. And the reason is because I can bring on this ammo, which I'll keep in my backpack because I don't need to quick access it. I'll bring 2 of those. For the same space, I can carry double the amount of bullets, which I can just top up my 3 mags that I have on me. So if I go ahead and just like unload one of these, and I can either click and drag them in there, and you see how it's highlighted yellow? That means I can top off that mag. But if I use bullets that don't fit in that mag, see, it doesn't work, it's red. Or I can just right click on it and load. Just like that. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. That's why I only carry 2 mags and also 1 in the gun. And especially at the beginning, you're not really going to need more than this. We're going to go ahead and add the aviator as well, just for cool points. But before we do that, there's actually this cool time-saving tip that I can give you. If you look at the bottom right, you see all these keybinds and shortcuts. If you control left click, it quick adds or quick removes, just like that from your inventory. All right, with that loadout, you got everything you need for your first raid. You're going to come over here, open up the map, call in.
Yo, you can hear me?
Yo, what's up, man?
Well, if I see you again, we'll do the mission together.
For sure, man. I would, but I gotta do this solo. All right, with the loadout set, zoom into the map over here, 200, 160. Set a waypoint. Call a chopper to either one of the LZs. Head over to this landing port right over here and wait for the chopper to come in. It's going to LZ2, by the way. Just letting you know. Just a fair warning, the chopper is extremely loud in this game, so just... This kind of reminds me of the Cycle Frontier, to be honest, man. I miss that game. And it was a lot easier to see people, too. I'm not going to lie. This game just doesn't look good.
Yeah, I'm still gonna patch it up and fix it up and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, well, have fun, too. See, I told you, dude. People in this game are so chill, I'm telling you. As we're making our way over to the waypoint, you can hear that the frogs are very loud. Audio in this game is probably one of the most important things that you're gonna have to worry about. Everything from bush, water noise, like you can hear me walking through here. You'll hear NPCs talking, but most importantly, footsteps. And if you see on the left-hand side, see how I'm exhausted and my lungs are taking damage as well? That's because I ran way too much. And if I wait a second, it'll let me heal up. This game doesn't have a traditional hit point system like Call of Duty or Valorant or something like that. This is more based on organs, damage to organs, and blood loss. So if you actually... So before we get to this shack over here, before we get into the shack, you can see your health and your vital organs right over here. Lungs, heart, head. Those are the most important ones. You take one of those out, you're dead. Also, blood. Also, you can break your bones. You'll have wounds. You'll have bruises. It's all very self-explanatory, actually. If you have a bone that's broken, you'll have a splint. If you're bleeding, you can use a bandage. If you have organ damage, you can use a surge kit, so on and so forth. If you're thirsty, obviously reach for that nectar and drink some sweet, sweet juice. There is a dead body over there. As you can see, anytime you find a POI, it pops up on the right-hand side of your screen. So I just found a POI, and it popped up on the bottom right-hand of my screen, and that also adds it to the map. If I bring that up, you see I found the lumberyard. It didn't say that before, but now it does. If you look at the task, it says looking around the gas station. So I need to find a gas station that's at 200, 160. There's a gunshot. There's a guy literally right here as well. That was an NPC, by the way. It's very... I need to... Dude, my frame rate is terrible with this. I might turn off the native AA, by the way. When you go up to the guy, you press F to loot his body. You see he has some guns here. I'll probably just take that. And you can't access this gun, by the way. You have to physically swap it in order to use it. It's only... You can't use two primaries at the same time. And if you find a vest or something like this, you can right-click to open. And you see he has some juice. I'm going to go ahead and drink one of those. He has some of the ammo. I'll just take it for the hell of it. Why not? Also, one of these. He has more ammo. I'll take that. Boom, boom. And congrats, dude, you looted your first freaking body. Good on you. So I just shot a dude, right? Well, that sounds weird just saying it like that. Anyway, that means I've used up some of the ammo in this gun, and I can inspect it and see it from here, but that's a very slow way of doing it. So what I do is I do left, alt, and R. That might be different for you. Check ammo. If you press left, alt, and R, it pulls out the mag, puts it back in, and you can see I have 21 in the bullets. Also, I have another keybind for checking the entire gun to see what I'm chambered in, what magazine it is, so it shows me my ammo and my firing mode. It's currently on single fire, which is, I didn't know that. I should probably change it by pressing B. So now it's on fully automatic. And so this is why I only carry those two mags. I went ahead and swapped that mag, and you can see I have that 21 bullet right there. Right click and load just like that. Right click and load this one as well. Boom. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Anytime you have an instant after a fight, you can always check up on your health, your hydration, and, you know, ammo count and stuff like that. By the way, while you're over here at the lumberyard, I just wanted to show you another mission that you're going to have to do in the future. I'm not doing it for this video just because of the scope of the video. This is where you put one of the trackers on the weapon caches, FYI. We're going to keep heading over here towards our marker. The gas station should be right up ahead. And that's it right there. Be careful when you cross in the street, you know, look both ways. Just like that. It says right on the bottom right that I completed that objective. I got that. If you press tab, open up tasks. First recon, we got the first one done. I'll leave the rest up to you. I hope you enjoyed that explanation and that quick start guide. If you did, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.